I invited my crazy cousin to stay with me, and because of that, I had to cancel family gatherings. I, a 30-year-old man, and my 27-year-old wife own a large farm. It often hosts family gatherings. The place has 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and covers 300 acres. There are electrical hookups for 4 campers, allowing the entire family to visit during the summer. We designed it that way on purpose. My cousin Bill, in his early 50s, has a daughter named Alice, who is 18 years old from his first marriage. His first wife was an immigrant who had no family here and no way to reach her family back home. Alice lost her mother when she was 2. Bill got married to Tanya, who is in her early 50s, just 6 months later. They now have 3 children, a 14-year-old son, a 12-year-old son, and an 8-year-old daughter. Alice is difficult. Everything in their house focuses on the boys, the 2 oldest, or their daughter, the princess. Alice feels overlooked. She misses out on family trips, they won't cover extracurricular activities, and she can't enroll in elective classes that require extra fees. I'm not the brightest, but I can see when a kid is struggling and not getting the care they need. She's like Mr. Hyde when she's behind the wheel, but Jekyll in other situations. For the past 4 summers, she has been working on my farm since her parents prefer she stays away during summer break. She just turned 18, and before her birthday, her dad was clear that she would be kicked out of the house once she reached that age. He believed it would teach her responsibility. Alice and I talked about it, and early on her birthday, we arrived with my truck and loaded her things. We packed only the items she bought or those given to her by someone else. My boss found a way to add Alice to my medical benefits until she finishes university. She begins in a few weeks, so she can go as well. Therapy, he checks this subreddit often, so even though this is a throwaway, I know you'll see this. Thanks, and she can return to sports while also saving her money. This is the moment everything falls apart. Bill and Tanya are upset that we took her in and won't attend family events. Some family members chose not to come because they believe I'm undermining Bill and Tanya. I'll get it once I have kids, especially when they don't want to go to events. Some people mention that due to high gas prices and the fact that not everyone would be there, they would also opt out. My response of, okie dokie, come if you want and don't if you don't, upset some people who believed I should have made more effort to get others to attend. Now, we're left with about a quarter of the family showing up for events. My aunt proposed that we invite Alice over on weekends and have her stay in a dorm during the week to make things easier. I find that silly, but I can be foolish and set in my ways. My wife thinks it's silly. She's smart, but also quite attached to what's happening. Alice mentioned she preferred staying with us, but would give the dorms a shot to keep things calm. Am I wrong for not following the dorm suggestion to avoid conflict? I referred to Alice as a brat, and my original post exceeded the character limit. In the parts that were cut, I provided more explanation. Typical teenage rebellion, but intensified. Slamming doors, yelling at her stepmom, cursing, and having 3 or 4 major arguments a week, often over minor issues. I've seen her develop, and the acting out started after she was left out of family activities. Edit 2. Thanks to everyone. I'll keep going. Just a quick update. I had a talk with my family and explained that having fewer people to feed isn't the punishment they believed it to be. Others who were planning to come are still invited, and I'll have extra money from not feeding as many people to support those in need. Worried about gas prices, people can find a way if they want to. I'm in 4 family group chats, and they're all buzzing right now. I'm going to put my phone on silent for a bit and see what happens. I'll look at the post later. If something interesting happens, I'll update you all then. Edit 3. Here's the update on the situation and some background info for the recurring topics in the comments. My family enjoys gossiping, and they do it really well. If your truck breaks down with just you inside, 5 miles from home, somehow every aunt and cousin knows before you even get through the door. Once I shared the news, it spread quickly. This morning, I was called every name imaginable, plus a few new ones. Looks like there might be a new edition of that book on the way. People have called me a good guy and a bad guy. Some say I'm stupid, while others think I'm smart. I've been seen as short-sighted and also as someone who thinks ahead. It's been interesting. To sum it up, I've got around 12 relatives saying thanks and promising to buy me a drink next time, while about 3 times that number never want to talk to me again. So those are both notable outcomes. No one here really cares about me. It's all about Team Alice. She found the post on Reddit by herself, without me showing it to her. She cried, a mix of stress and relief. She's going to stay with us until she's ready to begin the next chapter of her life, whenever that may be. She has her classes chosen. The college mostly picks first-year classes for students, so she just needed to select a couple of electives. She's also checking out the Women's Rec League for hockey when the season begins, so everything is in place for her. When it comes to feeding everyone and covering gas expenses, I had a lucky break as a young man. I was working really hard at a job I wasn't quite qualified for, while a wealthy person was involved. It was a matter of being in the right place at the right time. The chief noticed me and decided to mentor me. I have made a lot of money from a business venture with him, and I also work for him. Since then, I've had enough money to buy the property I live on outright and build my home here with my wife, who also earns well. Family matters to us, and both of our families aren't wealthy. We've worked hard to ensure that money doesn't stop us from getting together and seeing each other. Tanya came over to my house this morning. Bill and I had a heated argument when he arrived last night after I made a drastic decision in the family group chat. She even waved a white flag from her car when she got here. I sent the dogs away and stepped outside to talk to her. I brought her a muffin, and we had a short conversation. Bill was said to be threatening to kick Alice out to scare her into behaving. They weren't really planning to do it, and they were surprised when we arrived on her birthday morning. I explained to her that she was missing the point. I wasn't sure I could find the right words or keep it simple enough for her to understand if she believed that was the only issue. She wept. She sped out of my driveway, and I haven't heard from her since, which I'm actually liking. Appreciate all the support. I'm not much into Reddit, so I probably won't return. But during my short time here, I can say you don't deserve the bad reputation the internet gives you. You're a solid group. Stay sharp out there. In our talks about the dorm, I made it clear that it was entirely her choice. I mentioned that I didn't mind about cousins I rarely see and that I wanted her to choose what would make her happy. The agreement between her and my wife appears to be, she thinks that in a few years, living in the dorm could be a good transition from home to having her own place, but for now, she prefers to stay with us. Right now, it's just a guess, but I get the feeling that Bill thinks of Tanya and their kids as his family, while he sees her as a kind of burden, like a character from Harry Potter he can't shake off. Initially, I believed it was related to race. Her mom was from Guatemala, and she had dark skin and straight dark hair, unlike the rest of us who were pale with curly hair. Has she gotten older? When you look at pictures of her mom and her at the same ages, they look like twins. Tanya seems really jealous, and Bill just acts like a dirtbag. I can't figure out how he thinks. Alice behaves very differently at home compared to how she is around others. She really acts out when she's with her parents. Her teachers, coaches, and relatives all say she's a great kid, smart and compassionate. At home with her parents, things are not the same. I know she's acting out because the only time she gets attention at home is when she's being punished. I left that part out because I'm not great with words sometimes. Alice has never harmed anyone, based on what I've seen or heard. She storms away and slams her bedroom door, arguing loudly with her stepmom and using a lot of profanity. I've clashed with her dad about this several times. I was still young when her mom passed, so I haven't always been able to do much more than clash, but I've at least been present. While I don't want to defend the extended family, I believe many of them would understand better if they lived nearby and didn't only hear his version on Facebook. They would see what the local branch of the family experiences. They're not a group of malicious aunts and uncles, they're just a bit clueless. I've been given a very creative version of the truth by Bill and Tanya for over 10 years, with no proof that there's anything else going on. Also, my dislike for Bill and Tanya is pretty well known in our family. which probably affects how they see the situation. It does sound a bit concerning when phrased that way, but to my knowledge, there's nothing wrong there. Alice's mom was struck by a random drunk driver, and Bill is just an idiot. Their marriage seems to be more about convenience than love, without airing any family issues. That's a separate story that doesn't quite fit for Reddit. Update. Am I in the wrong for taking in my cousin with issues and canceling family gatherings? About a year ago, my cousin Alice, who was 19 at the time, moved in with my wife on her 18th birthday. Her parents told her she needed to leave their house that day. I'm here with an update based on her suggestion. The positive aspects. A year later, she is in her second year of an engineering degree. She has been playing a lot of hockey and has raised a couple of steers by herself. At her therapist's suggestion, she has reduced her sessions to once a month after starting with weekly and then moving to bi-weekly. She's still the same kind kid, but now she doesn't have the unnecessary stress of being compared to her younger siblings. The negative aspects. Her dad came around a month after my first post, and there was a confrontation that led to a peace bond. This bond included restrictions on how Bill and Tanya could reach out to Alice, me, my wife, and a few other family members who got involved. After the 6 months of the peace bond, Tanya began returning to her old ways, but Bill appears to have become a bit wiser. The peace bond has resulted in limited contact with her siblings, which has been difficult. The oldest, 15 meters, was initially pretty unfriendly, but some of the other cousins explained the situation to him. I was blamed for his sudden change in attitude, since it's known that I'm terrible with jazz hands and all that ridiculousness. The gossipy family calmed down when they understood that the gravy train wasn't going to make a stop for them. Last year's Thanksgiving had 26 people, while the year before that, before COVID restrictions, there were over 60 guests. Easter this year reached 40, so we might level off just below the previous figures. Bill has been texting Alice every few days to see how she's doing. They've met for coffee a few times since the peace bond ended. Alice said she'd go to his funeral, but not his birthday party when I asked her about it. I'm hoping time can heal that wound, but she's been good at setting boundaries. As one of the notable voices of our time, John Cougar Mellencamp said, "Life goes on." If it's okay, I'll answer questions. If not, here's some closure for everyone.